My name is Isabel Martinez and I've been the family embarrassment since I was 23. That's when I got pregnant during my senior year at UCLA. The father, a grad student I'd been dating for 8 months, wanted nothing to do with fatherhood. He transferred to a program on the East Coast and never looked back. I had my daughter, Maya, 3 weeks after graduation. No job lined up. No partner. No plan beyond survival. My family's reaction was immediate and unforgiving. My father, Ricardo Martinez, is a successful commercial real estate developer. He'd built a portfolio of office buildings and retail centers across Southern California, creating generational wealth for our family. Success, image, and reputation were everything to him. My pregnancy was a stain on all three. "You've humiliated us," he said when I told him. "What will people think?" My mother, Elena, was gentler but equally disappointed. "Oh, Isabel. You had such potential. Now what will you do?" My older sister Victoria was the harshest. "You're so selfish. You've embarrassed the entire family. Don't expect us to bail you out of your mess." Victoria was the golden child, married to a successful attorney, living in a beautiful house in Newport Beach, throwing elegant dinner parties. She'd done everything right and she never let me forget I'd done everything wrong. So I did what I had to do. I handled it alone. I moved into a tiny one-bedroom apartment in Koreatown, got a job as a paralegal at a personal injury law firm, and raised Maya on my own. My salary was $45,000. After rent, childcare, and basic expenses, I had maybe $200 a month left over. For 12 years I struggled. I worked overtime whenever I could. I took freelance document review projects on weekends. I learned to make every dollar stretch impossibly far. And I stayed away from family events. It was easier than dealing with the judgment, the comparing, the constant reminder that I'd failed their expectations. But here's what they didn't know. I was building something. During those late nights doing document review, I started noticing patterns. Insurance companies would settle certain types of cases for far more than they were worth. Attorneys would miss key precedents that could win cases. I developed an instinct for what made cases valuable. When Maya was 5, I took the LSA. Scored 172, top 1% nationally. When she was 6, I enrolled in law school at Southwestern, a night program I could manage while working full-time. My boss at the firm agreed to flexible hours if I'd continue doing document review. For 3 years I worked 40 hours a week, went to school 20 hours a week, and raised a daughter. I slept 4 hours a night. I lived on coffee and determination. My family didn't know I was in law school. They thought I was still just a paralegal with a kid barely scraping by. When Maya was 9, I graduated law school. Passed the California bar exam on my first attempt. Got hired as an associate at a plaintiff's personal injury firm. My starting salary was $120,000. Within 2 years I'd made junior partner. I was excellent at trial work. Juries loved me and I had a gift for making complex medical testimony accessible. My settlements were consistently above market averages. By the time Maya was 12, my earnings were $480,000 annually. But I still lived in that one-bedroom apartment in Koreatown. Still drove my 2010 Honda Accord. Still dressed from Target and Nordstrom Rack. Still looked like the struggling single mom my family expected me to be. Why? Because I was saving everything. Investing everything. Building something bigger. I'd been putting 60% of my income into investments. Index funds, real estate, carefully selected stocks. I'd paid cash for a duplex in Pasadena and rented out both units for positive cash flow. I'd bought a small commercial property in Burbank that housed 3 retail tenants. By Maya's 13th birthday, last year, my net worth was $2.8 million. And my family still thought I was a struggling paralegal who'd ruined her life with an unplanned pregnancy. I never corrected them because their judgment had become fuel. Every dismissive comment, every pitying look, every time Victoria talked about her perfect life, while implying mine was a disaster, it motivated me to work harder, save more, build bigger. But there was something else I was building. A surprise for Maya. 3 years ago, I discovered the Serenity Coast Resort in Laguna Beach was for sale. It was a boutique property, 42 rooms, private beach access, restaurant, spa. The property had been neglected by its previous owners and was on the market for $18 million. I'd driven past it dozens of times over the years, dreaming about owning something so beautiful. So I did something crazy. I bought it. Well, not entirely on my own. I partnered with two other investors, a retired hotel executive and a real estate developer, who each put in $6 million. I put in $6 million of my own capital, taking out a significant loan against my other properties to make it work. We bought Serenity Coast Resort in January 2022. Spent $4 million renovating it. Reopened it 8 months later as a boutique luxury destination. By 2024, the property was worth $32 million. My one-third ownership stake was worth approximately $10.6 million. I was the managing partner and effectively ran the resort. Made all major decisions. Set policy. Hired staff. Built the brand. And my family had no idea. Running a resort while practicing law and raising a teenager should have been impossible. Somehow I made it work. I'd promoted to senior partner at my law firm, which gave me more control over my schedule. I'd take depositions and do court appearances 3 days a week, then spend 2 days at the resort handling management issues. Maya, now 14, was thriving. She went to a good public school in Pasadena. We'd quietly moved to a nice 3-bedroom house I'd bought cash, but I never mentioned it to family. She was on the debate team, played volleyball, got straight A's. She was also the reason I kept my success hidden. I didn't want her to become a weapon my family used against me. Oh, so now you have money, but you still denied your daughter a proper family growing up. I wanted to protect her from their judgment, their expectations, their ability to make everything about them. But I was also building something for her. The house in Pasadena would be hers someday. One of the rental properties was already in a trust for her college education. And my share of the resort would eventually transfer to her. Security I'd never had, opportunity I'd fought for alone. My typical week looked like this. Monday, court in downtown LA, depositions until 6 p.m., home for dinner with Maya, work on resort finances until midnight. Tuesday, settlement negotiations all day, conference call with resort managers at 7 p.m., review booking reports and revenue projections. Wednesday, at the resort all day, meeting with staff, reviewing operations, handling guest issues, meeting with my partners. Thursday, more court trial prep, evening at home with Maya helping with homework. Friday, at the resort, often staying overnight in the owner's suite with Maya, treating it like a mini vacation while still overseeing operations. Weekends, split between family time with Maya and resort management. I was exhausted constantly. But I was also successful beyond anything I'd imagined at 23 when I held newborn Maya and wondered how I'd survive. To my family, my typical week was whatever Isabel does with her paralegal job and her kid. They'd stopped asking about my life years ago. When I showed up to the occasional family event, maybe 3 times a year, they'd make polite small talk, then return to discussing Victoria's latest vacation or my father's newest property acquisition. I'd become invisible, which was exactly what I wanted. Until my father's 60th birthday invitation arrived. The invitation came in early November. It was formal, expensive, thick cardstock with gold embossing. The kind of invitation Victoria would design. You are cordially invited to celebrate Ricardo Martinez's 60th birthday, December 15, 2024, 7 p.m. Serenity Coast Resort, Laguna Beach. Black tie, adults only, no +1s for single parents. RSVP by November 30th. I stared at that line, no +1s for single parents. That meant me. That specifically excluded Maya. I called Victoria, who'd organized the party. Hey Vic, got Dad's invitation. I wanted to clarify something. Isabel. Yes, we're so excited. Dad specifically wanted it at Serenity Coast. It's supposed to be beautiful now after the renovation. Yeah, about that. The invitation says no +1s for single parents. Does that mean? It means we want a sophisticated adult evening. No kids. I know that's hard for you since you're always dealing with childcare drama, but this is Dad's night. We can't have children running around. Maya is 14. She doesn't run around. She'd sit quietly. Isabel, it's a black tie event. Adults only. Surely you can find a babysitter for one evening? Or is that too difficult for your situation? I felt something cold settle in my chest. Why situation? You know what I mean. Single mom, limited resources. If you can't afford a babysitter, I'm sure Mom would pay for one. We just don't need your childcare drama at Dad's party. I see. Great. So you'll RSVP, yes? Just you, no plus one. I'll think about it. Isabel, it's Dad's 60th birthday. You have to come. Even if it means dealing with your complications. I hung up. That evening, I sat with Maya at our kitchen table in Pasadena. They don't want you at Grandpa's party, I told her. The invitation specifically excludes you. Maya shrugged. She'd learned young not to expect much from my family. It's fine, Mom. I can stay with Ashley that night. It's not fine. You're his granddaughter. You should be included. They've never really included me before. Why would they start now? That broke my heart. He was right. My family had kept Maya at arm's length her entire life, polite at mandatory holidays, but never truly embracing her as one of them. Here's the thing, I said carefully. The party is at Serenity Coast Resort. That's that pretty place in Laguna you've taken me to, right? Yes. That pretty place I own 1/3 of. Her eyes went wide. Wait, you own part of the resort where Grandpa's party is? I'm the managing partner. I own it with 2 other investors. We bought it 3 years ago. Does Aunt Victoria know? Nobody knows. Well, my business partners know. But family? No. Are you going to tell them? I thought about it. Thought about 12 years of judgment. Thought about Victoria's condescending tone. Thought about the invitation specifically excluding my daughter from a party at a resort I owned. Not yet. But I'm going to do something better. Over the next 3 weeks I prepared. First I RSVP'd yes to the party. Just me, no plus one, exactly as Victoria requested. Second, I coordinated with my resort managers. December 15th, the Martinez party. I need you to handle something for me. I explained what I wanted. My general manager, James Chin, smiled slowly. That's deliciously petty, Ms. Martinez. I love it. It's not petty. It's educational. Third, I made arrangements for Maya. How would you like to spend the evening of December 15th in the presidential suite at Serenity Coast Resort? Room service, movies, the works. Her eyes lit up. Seriously. Seriously. You can't come to the party, you're not invited. But you can stay at the resort. It's technically your property too, since it'll be yours someday. Mom, this is the best revenge. It's not revenge, sweetie. It's clarity. Fourth, I bought a dress. Not from Nordstrom Rack this time, from a boutique in Beverly Hills. A stunning black evening gown that cost $3,200. Designer heels. Professional hair and makeup. If I was going to stop being invisible, I was going to do it properly. Finally, I met with my business partners to discuss strategy. You're sure about this? Asked Margaret Chin, the retired hotel executive. Going public with your ownership at a family event could get messy. It's already messy. They're throwing a party at my resort while excluding my daughter and treating me like I'm too poor to afford a babysitter. Then let's make sure the reveal is spectacular, said David Park, the real estate developer. James has the logistics covered? Every detail. On the evening of December 15th, I dropped Maya at the resort's presidential suite at 5 p.m. She had room service menus, streaming services, and instructions to call me if she needed anything. Have fun at Grandpa's party, she said, grinning. I'll be here enjoying the suite you own. Technically, we own it together. Even better. I went to prepare myself. Hair and makeup at the resort spa. Changed into my $3,200 dress. Looked in the mirror and barely recognized myself. I looked expensive, successful, powerful. I looked like someone who owned a luxury resort, not someone who'd been dismissed as a struggling single parent. At 7 p.m., I walked into the resort's main ballroom where my father's party was being held. The ballroom was stunning. Victoria had clearly spared no expense. Flowers everywhere, elegant table settings, a live band, waiters circulating with champagne and hors d'oeuvres. About 60 guests were there. Family, my father's business associates, friends from their country club. Everyone was dressed immaculately. I entered quietly, took a glass of champagne from a passing waiter and scanned the room. Victoria saw me first. Her eyes widened slightly, surprised at my appearance, though she hid it quickly. Isabel, you came. And you look nice. Thank you. Where did you get that dress? A boutique in Beverly Hills. Must have cost a fortune. Did you? Can you afford that? I managed. Mom approached, kissing my cheek. Isabel, darling. You look lovely. I'm so glad you could make it. Was it difficult finding childcare? It worked out. Dad was holding court near the bar, surrounded by business associates. When he saw me, he waved me over. Isabel. My youngest daughter. She's a paralegal in Los Angeles. He said it with the tone people use when trying to put positive spin on disappointment. I smiled and shook hands with his associates, letting them make assumptions about my modest career and difficult life as a single parent. Dinner was served at 8 p.m. I was seated at a table with some of Victoria's friends and their husbands, successful couples who talked about their recent trips to Europe, their kids' private schools, their investment properties. They asked me politely what I did. I said, legal work and some real estate investing. Oh, that's interesting, one woman said in a tone that meant the opposite. Victoria mentioned you're raising your daughter alone? That must be so hard. It has its challenges. I can't imagine. We have 2 nannies and I still feel overwhelmed. How do you manage on a paralegal salary? Before I could answer, Victoria clinked her glass for attention. Everyone. Thank you so much for joining us to celebrate my father's 60th birthday. Dad, we love you so much. You've built an incredible life, an incredible business, and you've given us all such opportunities. She went on talking about his success, his generosity, his vision. Everyone applauded. Then she added, Dad specifically chose Serenity Coast Resort for this celebration because he appreciates excellence. This resort recently underwent a complete renovation and is now one of the premier boutique properties in Laguna Beach. It's exactly the kind of sophisticated venue that reflects Dad's taste and success. More applause. I sipped my champagne and waited. Dinner continued. The main course was served, filet mignon and lobster tail. The wine flowed. Conversation buzzed. Around 9 p.m. James Chin, my general manager, approached the table where Dad and Victoria were sitting with some family members and business associates. I watched from my table across the room. Excuse me, Mr. Martinez? James said politely. I'm James Chin, the general manager. I'm sorry to interrupt your celebration, but we have a situation. Dad looked annoyed. What kind of situation? The owner of Serenity Coast Resort has requested that your party relocate to a different area of the property. Complete silence at the table. What? Victoria's voice was sharp. That's absurd. We booked this ballroom months ago. We have a contract. Yes, ma'am. However, the owner has certain rights regarding property usage. She's requesting you move to the terrace area, which is quite lovely. Absolutely not, Dad said, his face reddening. We paid for this ballroom. We're staying in this ballroom. This is unacceptable. I understand your frustration, sir. But the owner is quite firm on this matter. Then get the owner here now. Dad demanded, standing up. I want to speak to whoever thinks they can disrupt my birthday celebration. James smiled politely. The owner is here, sir. She's currently in the presidential suite with her daughter. Shall I request she come down? Yes. Immediately. Very well, sir. I'll let Ms. Martinez know you'd like to speak with her. I watched Dad's face go through several expressions. Confusion, then recognition, then disbelief. Ms. Martinez? He repeated. Sir. Isabel Martinez. She's the managing partner and majority decision-maker for Serenity Coast Resort. She's been here all evening, actually. Would you like me to bring her to you, or would you prefer to go to her? Victoria had gone pale. Isabel owns this resort? 1/3 ownership, ma'am. Along with 2 other partners. But as managing partner, she handles all operational decisions, including venue usage. My mother stood up. There must be some mistake. No mistake, ma'am. Ms. Martinez and her partners purchased Serenity Coast Resort in January 2022. Completed a $4 million renovation. Reopened it 8 months later. Under her management, the property value has increased from $18 million to approximately $32 million. She's been quite successful. The entire ballroom had gone quiet now. Everyone was listening. I stood up from my table and walked toward where my family was sitting. Hi, Dad. Happy birthday. He stared at me. You own this place? 1/3 of it, yes. With 2 partners. I'm the managing partner, which means I handle day-to-day operations and make final decisions on property usage. Victoria found her voice. How? How is this possible? You're a paralegal. Actually, I'm a senior partner at Brennan & Associates. Personal injury law. I make about $480,000 a year. I've been investing heavily in real estate for years. My net worth is approximately $2.8 million, not counting my share of this resort, which is worth about $10.6 million. Mom sat down heavily. $2.8 million? Give or take. The exact number fluctuates with the market. But, you live in Koreatown. You drive an old Honda. You dress from Target. Actually, I live in a 3-bedroom house in Pasadena that I paid cash for. And this dress is Armani, cost $3,200. I just chose to live modestly while building wealth. Funny how you never asked about my actual life. You just assumed I was struggling because that fit the narrative you wanted. Dad finally spoke. Why didn't you tell us? Because you didn't want to know. You wanted me to be the daughter who messed up, who got pregnant too young, who ruined her potential. That made you feel better about yourselves. Especially Victoria. That's not true, Victoria started. Your invitation said, no +1s for single parents, and you told me you didn't need my childcare drama. At a party at my resort. Where my daughter, your niece, was specifically excluded. We didn't know you owned it. You shouldn't have needed to know I owned it to treat me with respect. To include Maya. To stop judging me for choices I made 13 years ago. The room was absolutely silent except for the band, which had stopped playing. So here's what's going to happen, I continued. You can finish your dinner. You can have cake. You can celebrate Dad's birthday. But it's going to be on my terms, at my property, with my rules. Isabel, please, Mom said quietly. We didn't mean to hurt you. Yes, you did. For 12 years, you've treated me like a cautionary tale. Like someone who needed to be pitied and dismissed. And I let you because I was busy building something real. But I'm done being invisible. I turned to James. Actually, we don't need to relocate them. They can stay in the ballroom. But I want every bill tonight sent to me. Dinner, drinks, all of it. I'm treating. Victoria's face went red. We can pay for our own party. No. This is my gift to Dad. A party at my resort, paid for by the daughter you thought was broke. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Victoria. Maya is upstairs in the presidential suite. She's having a wonderful evening with room service and movies. Because even though you excluded her from the party, she's still welcome at her mother's resort. She's family here even if she's not family to you. I walked out of the ballroom, leaving 60 stunned guests and one devastated family behind. I went upstairs to the presidential suite, where Maya was watching a movie and eating a burger from room service. How'd it go? She asked, grinning. I think I just destroyed several family relationships. Good. They deserved it. Maybe. But it still feels weird. My phone started ringing immediately. I declined the call. Victoria. Declined. That. Declined. Over the next hour I got 23 calls from various family members. I answered none of them. Instead, Maya and I sat on the suite's balcony, overlooking the ocean, eating ice cream sundaes from room service. Mom. Maya said quietly. I'm proud of you. For what? For showing them who you really are. For not letting them make you feel small anymore. Thanks, baby. And for building all this while raising me alone. I know that was hard. You made it worth it. Around midnight someone knocked on the suite door. I checked the peephole. That. I opened the door. Can we talk? He asked. Why is here? I'd like to talk to both of you if that's okay. I let him in. Maya paused her movie. Dad looked at us both, then at the suite. Easily the most expensive room in the resort with its ocean views, separate living area and luxury finishes. This is beautiful, he said quietly. Thank you. We designed it during the renovation. He sat in the chair opposite us. Looked old, suddenly tired. Isabel, I owe you an apology. Actually, I owe you many apologies. For 12 years of apologies. Dad. No, let me say this. When you got pregnant at 23, I was angry. I was embarrassed. I felt like you'd ruined the image I'd built for our family. Successful, polished, perfect. So I made you feel ashamed for something that shouldn't have been shameful. For having a baby. For raising her alone when her father abandoned you. For surviving and building a life anyway. Maya was watching him quietly. And Maya, I owe you an apology too. You're my granddaughter and I've kept you at a distance because you reminded me of my own failures as a father. Your mom didn't fail, I did. And I'm sorry. Thank you for saying that, I said carefully. But it doesn't change 12 years. I know. But maybe it can change the next 12 years. If you'll let it. What about Victoria? What about Mom? What about everyone downstairs who spent years pitying me? Victoria is devastated. She realized tonight that her entire sense of success was built on comparing herself to you, to the version of you she'd constructed in her mind. Learning you're actually more successful than she is. It's shaken her. Good. And your mother is crying in the bathroom. She realizes she failed you. We all failed you. What do you want from me, Dad? A chance. To rebuild this. To know you, the real you. To know Maya. To be a real family instead of the performance we've been doing for 12 years. I looked at Maya. He shrugged. Your call, Mom. I thought about it. About 12 years of hurt, of being dismissed, of being invisible while I built something extraordinary. Okay, I said finally. But on my terms. No more assumptions about my life. No more comparing me to Victoria. No more excluding Maya. And no more treating me like I'm someone who needs to be fixed or rescued. Agreed. And you tell everyone downstairs that I own this resort. That I built a successful career. That I've done it all while raising an incredible daughter. No more hiding my success because it makes you uncomfortable. I'll tell them tonight. Before we leave. Good. He stood to go, then paused. For what it's worth, Isabel, I'm proud of you. I should have said it 12 years ago, but I'm saying it now. You're the strongest person in our family, and you always have been. After he left, Maya looked at me. Do you believe him? I think he believes it right now. Whether it lasts, we'll see. Are you glad you did this? The big reveal. I thought about it. Yeah. I am. I'm tired of being invisible. Tired of letting them make me feel small. I built something real and they should know it. You built something amazing, Mom. And you did it while raising me. That's pretty badass. Language. But true. The rest of the party continued without me. According to text from my cousin Luis, who found the whole thing hilarious, Dad did make an announcement. He told the guests that Serenity Coast Resort was owned in part by me, that I'd built a successful law career and real estate portfolio, and that he was proud of my accomplishments. Victoria apparently left early. Mom stayed but looked shell-shocked. Over the next month, my family slowly came to terms with reality. Mom called weekly wanting to really get to know me. We started having lunch monthly, just the two of us. She asked about my work, my investments, my life. She listened to my answers. Victoria took longer. 3 weeks after the party, she sent a long email. Isabel, I've spent weeks processing what happened at Dad's party. At first I was humiliated. Everyone knows now that you're more successful than me. Then I was angry, at you for hiding it, at myself for not seeing it. But mostly I've realized I was jealous. When you got pregnant I felt superior. Like I'd done everything right and you'd messed up. And I've been holding on to that feeling for 12 years because it made me feel better about my own insecurities. The truth is you're brilliant. You took a situation that could have destroyed you and used it as fuel to build something incredible. You raised an amazing daughter while building a career and a real estate portfolio. You're stronger and smarter than I'll ever be. I'm sorry. For 12 years of dismissiveness. For the invitation. For treating you like you were less than me. You were never less, you were always more. I was just too insecure to see it. Can we start over? Victoria. I responded, we can try. Maya's relationship with her grandparents transformed. They started coming to her volleyball games. Dad took her to dinner monthly and actually asked about her life. Mom helped her with college application planning. They were learning to be grandparents 12 years late but finally showing up. The most meaningful change was in how I saw myself. For 12 years I'd built my success in secret, afraid that visibility would invite judgment. I'd let my family's perception of me as a struggling single mom define how I presented myself to the world. But I wasn't struggling. I wasn't a failure. I wasn't someone who needed to be pitied or rescued. I was Isabel Martinez, attorney, investor, resort owner. Single mother who'd built something extraordinary while raising an incredible daughter. And I wasn't hiding anymore. 6 months after Dad's birthday party, Maya and I hosted our own celebration at Serenity Coast Resort. It was her 15th birthday. We invited family, Dad, Mom, Victoria and her husband, cousins, uncles, aunts. We also invited Maya's friends, her volleyball team, teachers she loved. The party was in the same ballroom where Dad's party had been. But this one had a different energy, joyful, inclusive, real. During the party, Maya made a toast. "Thank you all for coming. I want to say something about my mom." She looked at me, her eyes suspiciously shiny. 15 years ago she had me when she was 23. Everyone told her it would ruin her life. And for a long time, people treated her like it had. But my mom is the strongest person I know. She went to law school while working full-time and raising me. She built a successful career. She invested in real estate. She bought this resort, this beautiful place where we're standing right now. And she did all of it while making sure I had everything I needed. She taught me that success isn't about what other people think. It's about what you build when nobody's watching. It's about being proud of who you are even when others aren't. It's about never letting anyone make you feel small. So here's to my mom, Isabel Martinez. Attorney, investor, resort owner, and the best mother I could have asked for. Everyone applauded. I was crying. Victoria was crying too. After the party, Dad pulled me aside. "Isabel, I've been thinking. I'm getting older and I want to make sure my estate planning reflects reality. You and Victoria will inherit equally, of course. But I'm also establishing a trust for Maya. $500,000 for college and getting started in life. Dad, you don't have to." "I do. She's my granddaughter and I've missed 12 years of her life. I can't get that time back, but I can make sure she knows she's family. Really family, not just an afterthought. Thank you. And Isabel, I know I failed you. For 12 years, I let my pride and embarrassment damage our relationship. I can't change that. But I want you to know, you're the most successful person in this family. Not because of your money or your property, but because you never gave up. You took something that could have broken you and used it to build something extraordinary. That's real strength." Last month, Victoria called with a proposal. "Isabel, I'm thinking of going back to school. Maybe law school, maybe business school. Can we talk about it? I'd love your advice." We met for coffee. She asked real questions about my career, my investments, my decision-making. She listened. She took notes. She didn't compare or compete, she just learned. "I wasted 12 years being jealous," she said. "I don't want to waste any more time. I want to actually know my sister. The real one, not the version I made up to feel superior. I'd like that. And I want Maya to know her aunt. Really know me. Can I take her to lunch? Maybe shopping? I want to build a real relationship with her. She'd love that. My relationship with my family will never erase 12 years of hurt. But it's real now. Honest. Built on who I actually am rather than who they thought I should be." Last week I closed on another property, a small hotel in Palm Springs. 14 rooms, pool, mid-century modern aesthetic. Purchase price, $4.2 million. My net worth is now $3.9 million, not counting my resort stake. Maya starts looking at colleges next year. She wants to study business, maybe go into hotel management. I want to build things like you did, Mom. But maybe I'll start with a better foundation. You already have a better foundation. You have a mother who sees you, supports you, and will never make you feel like you have to hide your success. Best foundation possible. Dad's birthday invitation said, "Adults only, don't bring your drama." He was right about one thing. I did bring drama. But it was truth-telling drama, not childcare drama. And the truth was this. I'd built an empire while raising my daughter alone, and I wasn't apologizing for it anymore.